Hi there, Nitin. So you've written your first set of essays for us. Great to see that. So let's take a look and see what you wrote here. The first one is about schools and whether they should be more educational or whether they should entertain as well. So let's see what you had to say. In the last decade, the education process has evolved a lot and now focuses more on delivering knowledge without the in an entertaining way instead of the traditional process. I totally agree with the new methodology and its effectiveness. This essay will discuss both sides using examples of elementary school teaching processes. You need an ES here to demonstrate the point. Firstly, while focusing only on education will achieve the goal of transferring knowledge, it will not be as effective and interesting compared to fun activities. This is because if children, we don't use the word kids in IELTS, we only use children because kids is informal. So let's try it again. This is because if children have been taught with the help of toys, they will grow an interest in learning. For example, in kindergarten, teachers use soft toys. No, teachers use, without the S, soft toys to teach counting, and students are found to learn quickly as compared to the old way of teaching. Okay, let's move on. Secondly, classroom training can provide theoretical knowledge, but will always lack. You want lack here. L-A-C-K. Will lack in practical information. This is due to the fact that, no comma here, the instructor can show the cow image from the book, but on a field trip, children can discover many more things by themselves. VES here. Take, for example, a study done by Harvard University on, capital U here, on elementary school students post their field trip. Shows they learned as much information which is delivered in 2 weeks in classroom. As an outcome, field trips are proven to be a faster learning activity with respect to the classroom process. To conclude, from the field trip and soft toys examples S given, I firmly agree that education institutes, again S, should teach children via interesting and interactive processes, ES. In the future, more innovative ways to educate children will be discovered so that the learning process can become more entertaining and fun. Okay. Well, I'm happy to say this is definitely on topic and your examples were relevant, so all of that was fine. My concern is that it's just underdeveloped. This is a really tiny little paragraph. This is a little longer, it's a little more developed, but I still felt like you should have talked more. So here you're saying that toys are effective to teach children, and then here you basically said that experiential learning was more effective than teaching from a book. So all of that's fine. It just felt a little underdeveloped. So you're probably wondering, all right, well, how could I have developed this? You said that you're going to talk about both sides, but you really didn't. You kind of talked about a little bit about the theoretical knowledge, but you didn't really analyze it and why these people might have a valid point. So that's what was missing. You really didn't discuss reasons why people might support that opinion. So, yeah, okay, they can provide theoretical knowledge, but that's pretty much all you said. So I really wouldn't say that you discussed both sides, because essentially you didn't. There were a lot of things you could have said in favor of this viewpoint that schools should just educate. You could say that we live in a cutthroat society where there are more and more demands of our children every day, and therefore our schools do not have the luxury of teaching via entertaining methods or having entertaining classes, because the whole point is to prepare children for their future life outside of school. And that can only be done if you have a very rigorous academic curriculum. So if you had said things like that and then backed it up with some examples, then yeah, I would have said that you, in fact, discussed both sides. So you didn't really discuss both sides. You essentially just took the one side completely. So this was actually inaccurate, and that's a problem with your coherence and cohesion, because you said you were going to talk about something, but in the end, you really, truly didn't. Okay, there were a lot of grammatical mistakes, and they were pretty consistently these things with plurals. So you didn't put plurals where you should have, or you were just missing S's where you should have had S's. So that's something I want you to be careful about in your next assignments with us, okay? Be a little more aware of some of these grammar mistakes you keep making. So let's take a look now at your second essay. This is the enjoyable activity with a child. Okay. Developing improved skills in children. I'm not going to correct that again. Just know that kids should be children. Developing improved skills in children are of utmost importance, and there are various ways of achieving the same. I believe doing fun tasks with youngsters can introduce better skills as compared to reading. This essay will analyze, no S there. You're missing something. This essay will analyze what? This essay will analyze this viewpoint with the help of indoor and outdoor games examples as to determine, not to determine the point, to support my argument. Okay? Firstly, while reading helps in improving knowledge in different topics, no but here. And the reason you don't want a but is because you already show contrast with while, so you don't need two examples of you don't need two words to show contrast. Let's try it again. Firstly, while reading helps in improving knowledge in different topics, playing indoor games like PlayStation can develop many skills which cannot be developed by reading alone. This is because in indoor games, children have to think as a team and simultaneously understand the competitor's strategy. For example, in Counter-Strike game, all team members must play in harmony and also align actions as per team plan. Therefore, skills like team coordination, fine motor skills, out-of-box thinking, and out-of-the-box thinking can be easily learnt via playing fun games and not only by reading. Secondly, outdoor games children perform. In outdoor games, children perform a lot of physical activities which are not possible in reading. This is due to the fact that outdoor games, like soccer, require a lot of running and physical strength as compared to just sitting at one place during reading. For example, in a recent report published by the WHO, young adults, get rid of this group, who practice soccer bi-weekly are 50% stronger in endurance tests as compared to the group focused on reading. As an outcome, soccer and swimming build physical strength, while reading does not touch the skill at all. To conclude from the examples given, I totally agree that doing interesting activities can build valuable skills. In future, the focus will shift on such tasks more than purely reading. All right, that's awkward here. In future, the focus will shift more on such tasks than purely on reading. That's what it should be. There we go. Okay, so let's talk about this a little bit now. There were some grammar problems. Apart from that, let's see. Activity that develops better skills. Well, let's see what skills you talked about. You talked about strategy. You talked about coordination, fine motor skills, and out-of-box thinking. I don't really know where you really talked about this. You used it in your conclusive statement, but I didn't really see it anywhere here. Let's see. What else did you talk about in this paragraph? What skills did you talk about? And let's see, physical strength. Okay, fine. So what I was checking to see is how much you really developed this idea of creativity. And the truth is not a lot. You kind of saved it a little bit by using this word here, out-of-box thinking. But to be totally honest with you, you didn't really develop it anywhere else. I mean, you were talking completely about other things that have nothing to do with imagination and creativity. So I will give you the benefit of the doubt and say that that expression is at least something that is somewhat synonymous with imagination and creativity. So that's fine. Again, there were problems, like I said before, with grammar, like in A, recent reports, so you're missing things like articles. You're making mistakes with a lot of basic grammar. Part of the reason why that's a problem is because you don't really have a lot in terms of advanced grammar. So when you're making mistakes with basic grammar, and for the most part you're using basic grammar, this is not going to serve you well for your grammatical range and accuracy score. Your vocabulary was fine. There wasn't anything particularly high level here. It was all pretty, I would say, intermediate kind of language. But the grammar, like I said, was a little problematic, and the development for your first set of essays was fine. Okay? So for your first attempt, you're doing a good job. You've been using the template accurately, so all of that is well done. Okay? So now let's talk about what you need to do. You need to correct these essays based on my suggestions. That's the first thing. The second thing you need to do is you need to create an error correction list where you write down all the mistakes that are pointed out to you. Next to each mistake, write down what the corrected version would be. This is a list you're going to add to with each essay correction you get back. The third thing you'll need to do is write us a new set of essays. Try to do this within the next day or so you can really apply everything you've been learning. Okay, so those three things are what we need from you, that we need you to send back to us. So go ahead and get those started, and let's meet back here with your next set of essays. Okay, good luck.